students, and welcome to today's lesson. I'm Miss Lee. Today we will explore the question, why do organisms have specific characteristics? Are you ready? Grab your pencil and your science journal, and let's get started. In our last lesson, we learned that birds have different physical characteristics that help them survive. For example, we saw that a hummingbird's long beak helps it extract nectar from flowers. But we wondered if there is any connection between an animal's characteristics and its environment. Today, we will explore that question. What do you notice about the environment where the whooping crane is standing? Do you see grass? I do too. I also see a lot of water in the crane's environment. What do you notice about the northern harrier's environment? The harrier looks like it is perched on part of a tree. Maybe the harrier is in a forest. Which characteristics help the crane survive in its environment? The crane has long legs so it can walk around in deep water to look for food. The crane also has a long beak. The crane can stick its beak deep into water, sand, or mud to get food. The crane can even reach for food by stretching its long neck. Which characteristics help the harrier survive in its environment? The harrier has a sharp beak. Maybe the harrier's sharp beak helps it get food. The harrier also has feet with sharp, spread out claws. The harrier's feet can help it catch food and perch on branches. Let's keep track of our observations about animals and their characteristics in a chart. We can label the columns of our chart animals, characteristics, and environment. Let's start with the whooping crane. What are the characteristics of the whooping crane? A whooping crane has long legs, a long beak, and a long neck. What environment does a whooping crane live in? Well, the photograph shows us that a whooping crane can live in an environment that has lakes or ponds and grass. What about the northern harrier? What are the northern harrier's characteristics? A northern harrier has sharp claws, spread out claws, and a sharp beak. What environment does a northern harrier live in? A northern harrier can live in a forest or in wooded areas. Great work. Let's observe the physical characteristics of some other organisms. We can use our observations to help us determine each organism's environment. The photographs of these organisms are different from the photographs of the birds because these photographs do not show details of the organism's environments. We will need to rely on the animal's characteristics to help us decide what environment each animal lives in. Here we have photographs of a raccoon, a coyote, a Gulf killifish, and a diamondback terrapin turtle. Where shall we begin? Let's start with the raccoon. What physical characteristics do you observe? I observe that the raccoon has thick, fluffy fur. What about the raccoon's other body parts? I notice that the raccoon has a short neck and short legs too. And look at those claws. Wow. Do you think this animal lives in water or on land? Which of the raccoon's physical characteristics could help us determine what its environment is like? Well, I think the raccoon lives on land because it has claws, which might be good for digging, but not for swimming. How do you think the animal's characteristics help the animal survive in its environment? Do you think sharp claws help the raccoon climb trees and dig up food? I think so too. Now let's look at the coyote. What physical characteristics do you observe? I notice that the coyote has long legs and pointy ears. What do you notice about the coyote's fur? I notice that the coyote has thick fur. I also notice that the coyote has a long tail like a dog. Do you think this animal lives in water or on land? The coyote probably lives on land. The coyote's thick fur might keep it warm on land when the weather gets cold. And I know that dogs live on land, so I think the coyote does too. How do you think the animal's characteristics help the animal survive in its environment? The coyote has long legs. The coyote probably uses its legs to move on land and get what it needs to survive. Wow, we made a lot of observations. Let's record what we noticed about the raccoon and coyote in our chart. Your task for today will be to complete the chart for these two animals, the Gulf killifish and the diamondback terrapin turtle. So why do organisms have specific characteristics? In our last lesson, we learned that different birds have different beaks to help them get the food they need to survive. And today we learned that animals use different characteristics to survive in different environments. Do you think the animals in our chart are part of the same ecosystem? Well, some of the organisms live in different environments, but I think the animals could be part of an ecosystem that has different types of environments near each other. How can we determine whether the animals are part of the same ecosystem? Well, we would need to find out if the animals live in the same area. We would also need to find out if the animals move matter around to each other in a food web. This matter includes the animals and plants each animal eats. Hey, do you think plants also have specific characteristics that help them survive in their environment? Did you say yes? I agree. Plants must have specific characteristics that help them survive in their environment because plants are also organisms. There are many kinds of plants. Different plants have different structures and grow in different environments. We will explore characteristics of plants in the next lesson. Let's review your tasks for today. First, complete the chart for the last two organisms. Second, respond to the question about the last two organisms on the chart.